Time for some good news, and I start with some good news about the airline industry. I know we don't hear enough of that. In fact, we don't hear any of that at all. We all know that airlines have been hit by the pandemic, but there is one small ray of light. The trend for staycations has led EasyJet to introduce some new routes. 2 new domestic flights from Bristol Airport will start next month as more holidaymakers opt for staycations this summer to avoid quarantining when they return home. The airline is to begin flights to Aberdeen on July the 9th and Jersey the following day, putting it in competition actually with the Scottish carrier Loganair. Jersey falls within the UK's common travel area, along with the rest of the Channel Islands, Ireland and the Isle of Man, so UK residents holidaying there do not need to quarantine. Now, I don't know what you do to deal with a hangover, but scientists suggest... What do you do?
These days, I lie on my sofa for about 8 hours feeling like I'm about to die.
Right. So, scientists are suggesting that a cup of coffee is actually the perfect cure. It's been reported in today's Sun newspaper. The science suggests that 3 or 4 cups are best to get you feeling full of beans after a heavy night. Researchers at Southampton and Edinburgh universities, who looked at data for nearly 500,000 people over a decade, also found coffee drinkers were 21% less likely to suffer from chronic liver disease. There's always a but. There are downsides to that, but that was the result of that particular research.
Yeah.
Now, brace yourselves, a plague of mice that has ravaged vast swathes of eastern Australia has forced the evacuation of a prison while authorities repair gnawed electrical wiring and clear the dead and decaying mice from walls and ceilings. Around 200 staff and 420 inmates will be transferred from the Wellington Correctional Centre in rural New South Wales state to other prisons in the region during the next 10 days while cleaning and repairs take place. Now, millions of mice have caused havoc in the grain-growing region of Australia's most populous state for months, devouring crops and haystacks, as well as invading homes, businesses, schools, hospitals, and, as we've been reporting, prisons. Plagues usually happen when rain follows several years of drought, and the current plague is the worst that many can remember in some areas.
I really wanted a pun with that one. Something about, being a rat, but no, you're a mouse, or no, nothing?
No.
No, sorry.
I want to introduce someone else. This is Margaret Sherlock. She's a hairdressing legend. She's still working at the age of 91 and is celebrating 65 years in her Lancashire salon. It's business as usual for Margaret as she looks after clients just like she has for the past 65 years. It was on June the 19th, 1956 that she opened her salon in the front room of her terraced home in Stratford Road in Chorley. Good for her. She says she's not giving up because it would upset all her clients.
That is amazing. 91. She didn't look 91 at all.
Nope.
Fantastic.
Work until you...
Good work ethic.
Right, all the way through. That's my trick. Now, Britain has today started negotiations with 11 countries belonging to a £9 trillion free trade area in what the government describes as a landmark moment for the UK as an independent trading nation. Joining the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, that trips off the tongue, or CPTPP, which absolutely doesn't trip off the tongue. That would link Britain to some of the world's biggest current and future economies, populated by 500 million people, and with a joint GDP of £9 trillion in 2019, as I was saying. That covers economies across Asia-Pacific and the Americas. And the deal would open new markets for our service industries, lower tariffs on goods like cars, whiskey, and, says the government, it would create new opportunities for UK farmers. Now, this is a government press release. I make no bones about that. But that's the aim. Yeah,
it's brilliant. They've started negotiations today. It's quite a historic moment because people said, we're going to be isolated after Brexit. We're cutting off our ties to the world, that we're never going to be able to sign free trade deals. And here we go. It took 4 years after the referendum to, really get the thing through Parliament and up and running. But I think we're doing a good job.
Yep. I mean, the argument has always been, well, it's never what we had. It's a new deal. It's
more.
It's big. It's big. Now, this is a good news story, because under 18s who want nude pictures or videos of themselves removed from the internet can now report the images using a new online service. It's from the Internet Watch Foundation and Childline. It aims to help children who've been groomed or whose partners have posted photos of them online. The IWF will examine the images and try and remove them if they break the law. It says the tool is a world first and could help many worried children. The charity says there are a number of reasons a young person might send nude images or videos without knowing they'll be posted online, including grooming and coercion. Some may have also sent images for fun to a boyfriend or girlfriend who has since then shared them without their consent. But now, for the first time, people under the age of 18 who are concerned can flag up the content using the report remove tool on the NSPCC's Childline Services website. That's where you go. But yeah, that's a very positive step.
Yeah, a much needed resource, but it does beg the question, what happens if you're 18 and a today. What happens if you're 32 and someone has got hold of indecent pictures of you? I mean, it's a great tool, but I think it should be rolled out to anybody.
There's real concern about children, particularly.
Oh, no,
Let's deal with that.
But no, I agree.
No, there's a long way to go. Now, I just want to... this is just a picture that tickled me. This is police dog Bodie, and, well, he's tired. Police Scotland put this picture on Twitter explaining that this weekend he attended 27 calls last weekend on a night shift. His jobs varied from housebreakings, missing people, people armed with knives, vulnerable people, etc., etc. All I say is, you sleep well, Bodie, you deserve it.
He's tired, but look at his little alert ears. He's listening.
He's ready,
He's ready.
Now, the House of Commons, normally not a place where you go for a really good laugh, but a new bill was introduced yesterday and it had them rolling in the aisles. Have a listen to this.
Presentation of Bill, Mr. Peter Bone.
Prime Minister Temporary Replacement Bill.
Second reading? What day?
With your permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, Friday the 14th of January 2022.
Friday the 14th of January 2022.
That was Peter Bone, the MP, and he's been pushing for this for a long time. It's actually a bill designed to cover for the eventuality of a Prime Minister falling ill or dying while in office, so it's actually rather serious and was even more needed after Boris Johnson was taken to hospital last year, and there isn't an act that looks after that sort of situation. But whilst he stood up and read temporary replacement of the Prime Minister bill, the others there took it another way, obviously. So anyway, it was nice just to see a bit of laughter in a place where there isn't much. Now, theatres around the world are getting ready for the easing of lockdowns. On Broadway, they're preparing for Meredith Willson's The Music Man, which starts performing on December the 20th this year. Now, Hugh Jackman plays Professor Harold Hill, and he's just released this video on his Twitter account of how his rehearsals are going.
Reminds me of our rehearsals.
Well, just as much exercise required. I just wanted to show you that because it just makes you smile.
I love tap dancing.
And,
you don't see enough
gosh,
of it
you see
these
how much
days,
effort.
do you?
I mean,
it's exhausting.
I need 2 weeks off after that.
Yeah.
I need 2 weeks off after this. Right, now, it doesn't matter how old you are. When you want to celebrate a birthday, you can't beat a princess-themed party. Now, this fun-loving gran had a blast at her 90th. She's known imaginatively as G-Ma, and looked like a queen as she donned a huge pink tutu, plastic crown and a beaming smile for the pictures. She celebrated the milestone birthday with her children and grandchildren in Ronaldo Gardens in North Carolina. Her daughter said, "We had the best time talking, laughing, dancing. G-Ma was a great sport and up for anything." As indeed she is. You're never too old for a pink tutu.
Well, you know, I quite agree. You'd look good in one.
Finally, all the stuff I tried to bring you is fairly fresh. This is a video that I saw it was on Twitter this morning, and I did a bit of research, and it's actually from a couple of years ago, but I've just got to show it to you if you haven't seen it. This is the Vienna Chamber Orchestra performing at an international festival in Turkey a few years ago. As I say, I know it's an old clip, but it's just surfaced again. It's worth seeing. Just watch this. That's the purpose of this slot, just to put a smile on your face at the end of a, you know...
Yeah, and we're never short of a dog, are we?
We never saw it. and how brilliant we were able to cover up the dog coming on like that. I mean, you can't plan for everything. But anyway, that's it. Just thought we'd cheer you up with that little roundup of some good news. Yeah?
I enjoyed it. It was really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dogs, featured, as you saw, a couple of times. They do. It's really interesting how dogs and indeed cats are now being used in care homes and places just to put, well, donkeys in some cases.
Yeah.
But it's just that moment where you see something walk into a room where you're not expecting it, and your reaction is just to smile.
I always think it's sort of a weird thing, isn't it, that as humans, some of us choose to live our lives with these other creatures and they choose to live their lives with us. And sometimes I just look at my cat and I think, isn't it weird we hang out together?
I look at your cat and just go, you poor thing. Because they don't have a choice.
What? I leave the bedroom window for
Yeah,
to go in and out as much as she likes.
Yes, all right.
She chooses.
Okay.
Yeah, but did you know, here's a cat fact. I'm sure you really wanted one. I can tell. You were dying for one.
I'm waiting.
That cats actually purr at a particular hertz, a particular frequency that heals bones. Genuinely. And so they actually do have a medical benefit if you have a cat. And when I broke my foot last summer, she lay on my foot for 2 weeks purring away, and she doesn't normally do that.
And your foot recovered?
Yeah. I've got heels on, everything. It's amazing.
Well, that's because of the cat then,
It's
obviously.
like
The
that.
purring.
She was like, you look scrappy in those sneakers, Mum.
Yeah.
I'm going to sort this out.
So without the cat, obviously you'd be hobbling in still.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's amazing.
I mean, I do fall over her quite a lot, so it's sort of, you know, an equilibrium.
I don't want to know while you fall over her. I've got a rough idea.
They just get under your feet sometimes. All cat owners know that. Appear out of nowhere.
Of course they do, yeah. As you're lurching.
What's this lurching?
That's a bottle. Anyway, enough of that.